I want to set the table for you about what this is, because there's an aspect of it that can't be ignored here, which is the tragedy in D.C. Has now taken on a new dimension, which is that it has become a political situation, okay? We can't ignore that. The parties both tried to blame the crash on the other, right out of the box. Why? Because nothing is sacred anymore. Nothing is spared the indignity of being ammunition for advantage of one over the other. No one is as good at this game as our president, but his play here doesn't make sense to me yet. NewsNation's not about gotchas, but we are about driving leaders to get us to a better place, and nothing's going to get better if leaders are committed to just settling for arguing over which side is worse. And that's what's happening here. We do not know why that Black Hawk helicopter was at an unusual altitude and why the comms were confused and why an experienced military crew with night vision goggles couldn't see what was apparently right in front of them. For Trump, though, the answer was clear before we even knew anything that I just told you. Bad hiring by the FAA. We don't know that air traffic control had anything to do with this at this point. He says, well, that's just common sense. Is it? Or is it this sense that has become uncommon, which is just attack, use it to your advantage? Look, we learned today air traffic controllers alerted the helicopter twice about the incoming American Airlines jet a full 2 minutes before the crash. Listen for yourself.
If traffic just off the workspace here today at 1,000 feet, start from runway 3.
Scott has a traffic site request visual separation.
Visual separation group. S25, is CRJ in flight? S25, pass is CRJ.
S5 has a aircraft in site request visual separation.
Separation.
Now, we don't know what it means. We don't know if they thought they were talking about the same aircraft. We'll get into that. But I don't think this is so much about the facts as much as it is about our president creating a fiction. Our president seems intent on making 67 dead and all the loved ones affected stand as proof that DEI literally kills. And only Trump can fix it. And there are two parts to his argument. That diversity in hiring is bad, and that's what happened here at the FAA, and that he did things differently so this would not have happened under his watch unless Biden had changed the way he had it. Now, that's a powerful message. Forcing a radical, liberal agenda literally cost 67 lives. At a minimum, it's highly insensitive to the realities and timing of this tragedy. But the more basic offense is that it is clearly not accurate, and the president likely knows that. This is not a secret. I'm not making this up. It's not new information. Trump was confronted with this canard yesterday.
I put safety first. Obama, Biden, and the Democrats put policy first. The FAA's website states they include hearing, vision, missing extremities, partial paralysis, complete paralysis, epilepsy, severe intellectual disability, psychiatric disability, and dwarfism all qualify for the position of a controller.
But first, if I can, the cited FAA text that you read is real, but the implication that this policy is new or that it stems from efforts that began under President Biden or the Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg is demonstrably false. It's been on the FAA's website.
Who said that, you?
No, it's on the website, the FAA's website. It was there in 2013. It was there for the entirety.
Take a look. What I read.
It was there for the entirety of your administration,
nice and easy.
too. So my question is, why didn't you change the policy during your first administration?
I did change it. I changed the Obama policy.
Now, look, I get that he wants that to be true, but it isn't. And I get that he's going to be defensive in this because no matter how competent the question, it plays as a gotcha. And no politician, no spokesperson, let alone Trump, is going to admit to any wrongdoing when they know there's a viral moment in the making. So basically, Trump just tells the guy to shut up. And his resistance now has an army behind it, right? All his supporters dismiss the media as what? Fake news. And now there's a new huge asset in Trump's army, Twitter. Elon Musk echoed his argument about the FAA and DEI hiring. He put it all over Twitter with his algorithms that reach hundreds of millions of people. He is the president's greatest amplifier, using apparently all the algorithmic power of his platform. So that's what they want you to believe. And if Trump changed it, and if it had just stayed like that, everything would be okay. Okay? So we did basic research about what this is, okay? And here are the facts. First, 71% of air traffic controllers and airfield operations specialists are white. 78% are male. So it's hard to argue that diversity in hiring has spoiled the ranks. Did Trump change the Obama policy like he suggested? No. And he knows this because he was confronted with it and didn't want to deal with it. So how do we know? In his last month in office in 2020, the same language is on the FAA website that he quoted at the press conference. The same language. Not only did he not identify a problem of the Democratic policy and then he changed it, that didn't happen. In fact, he echoed and extended it when he was president. How do we know? In 2019, the FAA launched a pilot program that helped prepare people with disabilities for careers in air traffic control operations. Guess who was president in 2019? Trump. Not only did he not change Obama's standard, it was the same standard, and he added to it in a way that would encompass people with disabilities, adding more diversity. And I'm not questioning expanding the talent pool. I certainly don't see it as a problem, but he does. And we know that because his new Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, was very anxious to echo this argument. He said diversity is not America's greatest strength. Unity is, and shared purpose. But my question is, what gives us unity and shared purpose? Isn't it inherent that we accept all of the different types of people that go into the melting pot and forge through the crucible of our shared experience one people? Isn't that what e pluribus unum means? Out of many, one? Isn't that why we put it on the coin? A collaborative and cooperative effect that no other country has ever been able to match. That's America's secret sauce. I get arguing about how diversity is introduced into the workforce and whether or not it's being forced. The goal should be merit, not just type. But we know why we want diversity. We know the why. If we're not utilizing all the potential we have in this society, which is the signature blessing of America, if you believe that God shed his grace on thee is in America, you have to recognize that part of that ordination, part of that blessing is the unique mixture of people who've come together here. We've never seen anything like it in this world, the mixture of people who have made America great. So yeah, it's about unity. But our unity is a function of all the different kinds that come together like fingers into a fist. So I don't accept the premise that diversity is somehow bad. And I know as a matter of fact, the hiring practices at the FAA were no different under Trump. And to the extent that they changed during his watch, he amplified diversity as a component of the hiring at the FAA. So what he is saying is not only untrue, but it is unkind to the people who have suffered in this situation, and I don't know how it gets us to a better place. Hey, thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your screen. And don't forget, click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.